into week 17 and we're back again.
Wow. Wow.
Week
It's
17.
gone
What's
quickly.
happened? What's happened? Now listen, you've changed your tune in relation to your drink.
No, I haven't changed my tune. I've just gone to the dark side, and this week I bought a cask, a goon.
A cask of wine in
A
French.
cask of wine, yes, that was €7
Right.
for 3 litres.
That's a nice drop too.
It's a Sauvignon, which I don't mind, which is nice and dry, and
It's got
the
four
price was-
bottles.
yeah, it's worth 4 bottles, but the price was, you just can't go wrong with the price. And it's quite lovely.
Tasty.
However,
I've had a drop too.
the
It's nice.
main reason I bought it was because in France they call a goon a fountain.
A fountain.
That's really classy, and I thought that's me.
A summer fountain.
A
So
summer
you've
fountain.
got a summer fountain.
I
in a
wonder if
French
they
town.
disappear in winter,
Well, it'd be interesting, but
because we all know that fountains freeze in winter. But let's just see. I'm just going
it's
to the
very
little
easy to open
plastic.
too, isn't it?
The plastic.
It's
That
almost
wasn't
empty,
very
though.
successful, was it?
It's almost empty, Donna.
That was a very, very light noise. I apologise. I
But
don't.
the glass is still full though. It's
Well, yes,
actually
you know.
there's no pop, and it's much easier to operate.
It's at the point when you get to the bottom of a
You've got
box.
to get it out and blow
you
into it.
Yes.
Ugh.
So it's almost at that point. I wonder where that wine's gone. It's just disappeared.
It has
Evaporates really quickly in summer.
But the fountain, the summer fountain wine,
The fountain.
and you can get it in various varieties still.
Oh yes, rosé seem to be extremely popular. So maybe
The rosé
rosé
is summer, Donna.
is the wine of choice during this
Well,
hot
chin,
season.
chin. There
Thank
you go. There you-
Click to me.
So now, Don, we're into our weeks. We're into summer, well and truly into summer. We've had the harvest, as we explained last time around, but that's
Yes,
all
well,
over
I'll
now.
just sip on my wine while you talk about the harvest, because I don't find it very exciting. But you go.
The harvest.
You
is,
reach out to the people who are
look,
interested.
there are some farmers out there. I'm sure.
I'm sure there are.
Now the wheat's gone. There's been harvest. Now they tell us that the quantity is great, but the quality is not as good this year. I think
Because of the heat.
the heat has done that. So the wheat's all gone.
And the heat, the severe heat happened 4 weeks ago now, and that's when the fruit was really finally developing. So it's understandable they're a little stressed and a little upset because it's not a great pull
Harvest.
this year.
Now, as you drive around, though, you've seen that the wheat's been harvested, and there are bales of the hay sort of in every field. Beautiful big rolls of hay that are there for cattle.
It's quite
and everything later.
artistic, really, because it's all golden.
It is.
The fields were green.
And they were yellow when we first arrived.
Yep, yellow with the canola flowers, and then they turned green, and now they're golden because they've cut all the wheat down and they've rolled it into bales. And it's when the sun hits them of an
It is
afternoon,
beautiful.
it's very beautiful. It is.
The potatoes are dying off, ready to be harvested. The flax has been harvested. Sugar beet is ready to go. And Donna, the tomatoes, we have had the most beautiful tomatoes.
Various colours, various
Oh.
shapes.
And there's a family in town that have got their own family farm, and the tomatoes and lettuce from there
Really
are just
sweet.
They are
Yes,
beautiful.
I've always loved tomatoes, but these are certainly grown with a lot of love because they're very, very yummy.
They're in hothouses too. But the problem is still water.
Mm.
Still water. So that's a little bit of the agriculture of the town. Now, our GoFundMe page has been very successful.
No, we've done
bottles.
well. We've had to go to the house almost daily to name bottles and clean them up and prepare them. We're going to have to go and get some proper tags really soon.
Very
put
soon to
names
name
on,
them. But for those people who have bought, we've made about $1,700.
which is fantastic.
And that's going to go towards the windows that are coming in September.
Plus, for those who haven't seen our Insta or any of our Facebook posts, I don't know what you've been doing, but we discovered 2 beautiful bottles
Yes.
that were very, very special.
They're lemonade bottles from the turn of the century. Everyone...
Near Amiens, it was a
Yes.
family that was very famous for their ceramics and pottery, and evidently they had a little time making bottles for lemonade.
And these bottles, they didn't have labels as in paper. This was before paper labels came along. They
Mm.
were sort of stenciled on, and we didn't come across them, much to Isabel's disgust,
Well, we
until
didn't
we
see the
started
label because it
washing
was
them.
hidden under the dust because it's etched into the glass. However, you were saying that when you put water on them, some of it disappeared.
Some of it disappeared, yes, because it's over 100 odd years
And
old.
I would say that the glass is depreciating in quality too after all of this time.
Our conservationist Isabel tells us that could be the case.
So we found, and we try to match the bottle to the personality. So when you come to visit and you find your bottle, you will see that I have chosen perhaps a bottle of something that I chose a bottle the other day for my friend Colleen, which had de vivre, as in life, l'eau de vivre, like the water of life, and that's her. That makes me think of her. Then other people who love certain kinds of wine, if by chance it's mentioning Bourdon or certain parts of France, and I know that they like wine from that area, I choose that bottle for them. I found some beer bottles for some of the men.
Some of them have got lovely labels on them too, which we've got to be very careful about. There's actually 3 bottles that are full. I think it's more of a cider than a wine, or a table wine.
No, it says table wine.
Table wine, certainly not drinkable, but they are there. We've managed to keep those, and these other 2 very special bottles that have got a bit of value to them, but they're very special bottles, and they do talk about that time when a lot of things were done in little villages. They made cordials, lemonades, beer, and everything. And in the Tulia cellar, which was a bit of a secret, this is where we found those bottles. So
some of the bottles have corks inside of them, so they've popped the cork and pushed it back down.
It's been a bit of a job to clean them too, hasn't it?
Some more than others, and I'm very aware that those of you who do donate and wish to buy a bottle, you'd like a clean, shiny bottle. So like I said before, if I know you, I prepare a bottle to match your personality. So be prepared.
So Donna's working on that. But there's about 400 bottles. There's many more, guys. As we've said before, they're going to create a bottle wall in the bar and cafe of the house with your name on them. So
name and date and number. We've numbered as the orders have come in.
There's a limited number. There's only 400 of these bottles. We're selling them for $50 each. And your money, your donation will become part of the Tulia house. So you are an integral part of it.
We totally understand that not everybody out there can throw in $100,000, but $50 and $50 and $50, they all add up. So you have bought a little part of this total adventure. And when you come and visit, and I'm sure you will, we will let you have a little photo with your bottle, and you can dance around with it and put it back on the shelf.
You can hold it, yes.
Knowing that it's yours.
It's your bottle.
For when you come back.
But we're sending photos of them to you.
Although I did have a lovely lady by the name of Tracy asking if she could glam her bottle.
She wanted to put sequins and things on.
I'm thinking it still could happen. And you know what? It's her bottle.
Well, we'll wait and see.
It
is her bottle. Now, once you buy this bottle, it becomes yours.
She wants
you can't take it home.
Except she needs to leave it here, because that reminds us every time we walk into that wine bar and we see those bottles and those names, we know that the love is there.
And it will, every single cent that you put into this will provide us with some opportunities to do different parts around the house. At the moment, the windows, as we said, are coming in September. Significant investment there. It looks like Jerome and Loic have told us that the cellar's next.
Yes.
It needs some...
and we went down there the other day. Yeah. I can't imagine how they'll do this. There's a whole wall of dirt.
Yeah, check out our Instagram page. Isabel's put up a really lovely treasure hunt type Indiana Jones reel of us down in the cellar. It's an interesting place, but in the future it'll become something nice.
Well, at the moment it's not the kind of place I'd like to hang out in, but I'm hoping...
You could get your summer fountain down there, Don.
I could store a few summer fountains down there, but in the summertime it definitely is cooler. So it would be a nice little spot if we can make it into a little cellar with some comfy chairs.
Very nice. Well, Jerome, our builder, he's got a cellar at home and he uses it as his scotch and cigar room.
Well, most of the houses here have cellars
because
they used to hide in the cellars from invasions and whatever.
So look, the renovations have started. things are moving along slowly, but we're getting there.
Yes,
And
patience has been a lesson we've been
if
taught.
anyone out there knows somebody that's got some money that they want to put into something very special, please tell them and let them get in contact with us, because this project is unique. Saving the Tulia House is something that is very close to our hearts, and we know that it's a piece of history that is part of Australia, part of Vignacourt.
And we want it open to everybody.
Now, moving on from the house, though, Donna, we've been to a number of places that are quite special over the last month. It started with Fromell, the
The
commemorations for
19th of July.
the 110th anniversary of Fromell, and Leslie Roy Martin had his headstone revealed on that day.
Yeah, and his family were there. And it's always an emotional thing to see families walk up to a headstone and remove the red cover and see his name finally etched into the stone, and to have people around just acknowledging the horrific battle that Fromell was.
It was a truly memorable event, wasn't it?
Fromell always is. If you go there, you can feel the boys around you.
And it was the first major battle outside of Gallipoli on the Western Front that the Australians took part in. Horrific loss of life,
which made the Australians realise that this isn't what we signed up for. This is a little worse than what we could ever imagine. So, for me too, I have given DNA for my third cousin, Roger Coffey. He was killed in Fromell, so I am waiting for the results, and hopefully one day his name too will be revealed on a headstone.
It would be quite remarkable.
He's there in one of the unknown soldiers' graves, and it would just be amazing for his family to be there to celebrate him and commemorate him.
And we're able to see our good friend Lambus there, who was responsible for unearthing and uncovering the whole mystery of the
amazing man, and to talk to military people too who are involved in the process of identification. And of course, as always, a good French gathering ends up with a little bit of alcohol
and the mayor
and a toast
Fromell
to everybody. And so everyone walked from the cemetery through the streets up to the school, and the school itself had a dedication wall to the soldiers of Australia who fought there, which is really special. So for the boys who've gone, don't ever underestimate that you didn't make a difference, because you certainly did.
And just a few days later, it was a busy time. A few days later, at 12:30 at night, we gathered at Pozières for the 110th anniversary.
Although I am married to a man who likes to be in places early, so I think we were there at 9.
Oh, but we saw everything arrive.
And the town was quite empty, might I tell you.
We saw everyone arrive.
We did go to Tommy's, which is a great little bar, and primed ourselves, had a little wine there, but then we waited, and then for sure, locals, kids, at that time of night, just coming to march, we marched through town to the
the First Division
Monument,
where Australian Division, where they had a ceremony set up, and obviously again horrific loss of life.
And another beautiful ceremony, and a lot of people acknowledging their important roles in continuing this story and keeping the legacy of the soldiers alive.
And not too far from there's on the night we found out that there's a group of Australian archaeologists and French people who are researching some finds in an area that may be a large piece of military hardware that was used during the First World War. They're looking for that, but also at Framerville. There's an archaeological team there that have located somewhere between 3 and 6 Australian bodies, they believe, and they're in the process of hopefully doing a dig there to be able to find those bodies. So they're every year they are found.
It's still happening. So
110 years later, we are still, well, not us, but they are still finding soldiers that have been buried. Farmers plough them up occasionally, and it's wonderful that the governments are recognising that and having a team of archaeologists here, and the Australian military team who are helping out with that. I heard recently from Lambus also that there's a bit of a move to try to find some soldiers that they've found at Bulcour, which would be another Australian
It's
battle.
also a major battle.
But
To walk around Pozières and know that there are boys under the ground there still.
And we sat out.
We sat
on
at the windmill
site for a little while,
and there were German trenches marked on the ground, so you could trace where the trenches were just around the battle time. It's just a learning curve every day, really. But I think the biggest learning curve was when we were on our way home, and there weren't any cars anywhere on the road. It was
2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it was early in the morning, and we're driving along and thinking, okay, this is fine. And next minute, a big bunch of blue lights flashing started following us. So we didn't know whether we should pull aside. We thought if they wanted us to pull aside, they would say something or flash some other lights, but they didn't. They just tailed us for a couple of kilometres.
Yes.
But we couldn't pull over because the farm roads, there's quite big divots on the edges, so you have to be really careful. And then we finally got to the top of a hill, and the road broke into 2 lanes, and this blue light disco that was following us moved into the left lane, and when I turned, it was an ambulance.
But it created a bit of tension for a little while.
Well, I thought it was a police car. I thought that we had been speeding, and as in Australia, a police car's hiding behind a bush. We whizzed past. They decided to chase.
Although I don't know whether the French would be out at 2:30 at night.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I've ambulances have blue lights.
Yes, and the fire does too. They all have fire.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe the fact was we couldn't pull over,
no.
But they could have passed us at one point, but I'm not sure. But that stopped.
Angel did tell us that they would flash their lights if they were serious about it, but
there was a lot of flashing going on.
On our drives around, I've found where the speed cameras are. I believe that I already have one speeding fine, but we're yet to have that happen. But that'll be coming down the track a little bit as well. So yeah, Pozières and Fromelles were 2.
It's another dress for me, ladies.
Yes, well, we're trying hard. Now, so we're out and about with that. We've got some visitors coming.
Yeah, it's really lovely.
We had the girls last month.
Having people reach out, and as time goes on and our stories get out there, we assume that we'll have more and more people. We've got a beautiful family coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, the Symes family, Terry and his wife and 2 other Australians will be here.
Representing Archibald Patterson.
And he contacted me some time ago, and his grandfather left his signature in the Noah's Caves, not just once, but twice.
Which means he was either there twice or he had a really good afternoon.
Really good afternoon. We think he was there perhaps in late December, early January 1916, but he changed from the 37th Battalion to the 59th Battalion when he got here, and they were in Vignacourt, we know. There are some photographs of 59th, but we haven't found his photo yet, but he could be amongst some of the collection.
This is what happens when you give us your ancestor's name. We start researching, and of course we're always stoked if anyone was coming through Vignacourt, because it would help us identify some of these wonderful faces in the photographs. But all around here, behind the line stuff was going down for weeks on end. So it's very possible that your ancestor didn't just fight. They may have come through Vignacourt, Flixicourt, Nau, or any of these areas behind Amiens, especially towards 1918 when things were heating up.
And they would have rested. There were lots of rest spots behind the lines. Vignacourt was unique. It had a very large rest area because it was close to the rail lines and things, but hospitals, clearing stations. But Archibald, he could have been here in 1916, but he could have also been here in 1918.
The nice thing is that the family is coming, and the wonderful staff of Nau.
Nau is just wonderful people.
Because Nau is the caves. There's dangerous issues about the caves deteriorating and the signatures, the graffiti disappearing. So the staff went down there and took videos of the signatures, because you're not allowed to go down there now because of workplace health and safety issues. So we'll present the family with the videos and we'll have lunch together right on top of where Archibald spent an
Yeah.
afternoon.
And it'll be just wonderful to recognise him. And I believe that Gilles Prilot, the gentleman the archaeologist
archaeologist,
who really brought the Noah's
graffiti,
signatures
yeah.
for the attention of the public, he'll come and join us for lunch as well. He always loves meeting relatives.
Yeah.
It's very sad because 50,000 people a year were going through the caves, and people were free to do so. But even the graffiti has degraded because of the carbon monoxide, and it's a really big problem that something's going to have to be done. I know that NOAAs are trying to work hard on it, but
yeah, they're working hard and they'll figure out a way. At the moment, you can still go there, and there is a mini museum upstairs with pictures of the signatures.
So I don't think that you can't go there. It's just you can't go underground, but the staff will go to their level best to make it all happen. And we can only thank Caroline and the other group of the staff at NOAAs who have done such a great job. Laurie, who went down and did it, and Jen, who will help us.
So they're coming this week. Last week we went to the Monash Centre at Villebretonnieu where they launched their virtual reality masks
headsets
that allow you to feel like you're in a trench. You're standing in a trench with the Australian soldiers, all about the Battle of Villebretonnieu on the 24th of April.
With virtual headsets on, and you turn each way and you see things coming. Use the tank.
Well, there are tanks there, and one is right ahead of you, and one comes over the top of your head, and you basically try and push it away with your hand, and then your brain kicks in and says, no, this isn't real. No, this is all pretend. So they're amazing.
They've done an incredible job. We were lucky enough to be invited along to the launch, but it's only 15 minutes. You book in, and there's only 10 headsets available.
However, then you go to the museum itself, and that's at least an hour.
But to be able to have 15 minutes to really...
And a coffee shop with a flat white.
Which is important.
Yeah.
To get a concept of the battle, though, and to know exactly what happened, the virtual headsets are just incredible.
Yeah.
And what the team that have built it are just incredible. So if you get a chance...
The Monash Centre is, I know, well worth going to.
Ben and Kathy and the team there are looking at other ways that they can make this more accessible to the public, because it's a long way to come to France to see it, but they're working on things like that as well. Now, Sunday of next week also, we've got Chris, our documentary producer, coming.
Yeah. His lovely wife and little girl, they're coming to have a holiday, but we've dragged him into Vignacourt just for a day or two to give him a look at what's happening in preparation for the doco.
Now, they've put together an incredible sizzle reel, which we can't show people because it's gone to the ABC, but it is incredible. And the pitch that has gone to the ABC, we're hoping to hear from that soon, but it is going to be incredible. We're going to tell the story of the Tuileries and Vignacourt, but we're also going to tell the story of our struggles and that as we renovate the house,
daily stuff that goes on.
And also we're going to tell stories of individual soldiers that went along.
As they're revealed.
And one of those soldiers is a Indigenous soldier. Joe Flick was here, who has visited graves earlier in the year of Indigenous soldiers, and we're going to be working on a book about 31 of those soldiers in the first volume to tell the story of Indigenous soldiers who came and died and are buried. Joe's been around.
Yeah, so speaking of burials, we went to the Chinese cemetery this week, and we went to 2 German cemeteries. One German cemetery was a World War I and one was a World War II. Both very moving, both heart-stopping.
Fricourt is, there's steel crosses, but there's two buried, one on each side. Four buried in a grave. And it was put together after the war. They gathered them from various battlefields and put them. I think there was 17,000 in that. 17,000 in that graveyard, which you walk through it, and it is truly a moment of
the difference. There are many differences, of course, but one of the differences between the German and the Commonwealth graves is that the German cemeteries have trees. And from my little bit of research, trees are reaching into the heavens, and they offer shade for the fallen, and they're a piece of reconciliation and peace between everyone. So when you go there, the German cemeteries are you feel quite peaceful there.
You do.
And the numbers of boys
Oh.
around the second cemetery we went to, there were six
In the
bodies
grave.
around one cross.
And there was over 20,000. That was World War II. And they were brought again from miles around. And there's in the Frickle one, the first one, there's 4 mass graves that have got. It's just horrific. The whole concept of going and visiting a cemetery and understanding what had occurred after the war, digging bodies up, trying to find in a respectful way to bury them. The job would have been unbelievable. And that led us then to the Chinese cemetery at Noyelles on the way to the Bay of the Somme, because the Chinese, over 140,000 Chinese came to France during the First World War to assist in things like burial.
Well, and trench digging and feeding and just land works.
And people, it's a story that
so
no
that
one
many
really
of them
knows.
weren't far from the action either when they're digging things and preparing things.
Very few, none of them took part in the battles, but very few of them were killed because of that, unless it was unexploded ordnance that went off.
Many died because of the Spanish flu towards the end of the war.
There's 840 Chinese buried in this cemetery at Noyelles, and they all have names. There's a couple that don't, but most of them, a large percentage, was because of the Spanish flu after the war.
Well, that particular that yard, but there are other Chinese places where they are buried.
The largest one in France, and there were hospitals close by at Abbeville, on the way to the Bay of the Somme. There are lots of hospitals that were clearing stations that around that area. So this one was particularly. But the Chinese, another story that very few people realise that many came. They came from Shandong
and beautiful epitaphs.
Beautiful.
An honourable man did an honourable thing. A good reputation. Yeah. Like if you read each headstone, it had little bits of wisdom on the
beautifully
top
written.
Well.
And if you ever, like, it's a story that needs to be told more of. And
we will be.
People don't know it, but there's 200 photos of them in the collection at the Tuileries as well, which is quite significant.
The research of who they are is a bit more difficult. Then we moved to Piquigny and visited Piquigny and visited a little chateau there that is completely sort of.
It was built
unusable
in the
now.
900s.
It was almost like Game of Thrones.
It was Game of Thrones, and
we met a wonderful guy,
Greg,
and he took us into the kitchen area.
It's privately owned and it's run by an association.
It was so Game of Thrones.
But it's on. Piquigny is only about 10 minutes from Vignacourt, but it's high on this hill, limestone hill, and you see the remains. And as Donna said, it's Game of Thrones stuff. But this place is where the 100 Years' War ended. There was a treaty signed on a little island down in the middle of the Somme River, and so many interesting things happened there. There was I think William I came and signed a treaty, and he was then killed. There were all sorts of things, but medieval history that is just incredible.
So from there, I had enough of cemeteries and old chateaux.
We saw a couple of other shows. We saw Batang, and we saw a couple of ones that were...
Yes. But I demanded that you take me somewhere else. So yesterday we went to La Pointe de Odelle to see the seals. So there's a colony...
It's right on the Bay of the Somme.
So basically at the top of France and England straight across the waterway. And it has a really strong change of current.
The Somme Delta is unbelievable.
So when we were there at low tide, we managed to see the colony of seals. There's about 50 or 60 of them.
50 or 60. They're old 300 or 400.
So they were just relaxing on their sandbanks. And of course, as the water started coming in, they started swimming away because they go and fish and eat and wait for the next break in the tides to rest on a sandbank. But it was just the most magnificent morning.
It was nature at its best. I didn't expect to see them.
Lots of people on the beach.
The rocky beach was incredible at the mouth of the Somme River. The estuary is huge. You've got St. Valery-sur-Somme on one side and
Le
Courtois on the other side. And the Pointe de Hodel is at the lighthouse, and it was incredible. And the seals, fur seals, as well as grey seals, incredible.
However, ladies, I
there
listened to
was
my husband.
there was another
He
moment of
said,
humour.
let's walk to the point. So we did walk to the point, and the tide was coming in, of course. So it
And we were
became
told you had to get back.
quite mushy underneath your feet, and the mush turned into mud. So, of course, Michael decides he knows a shortcut, not. And we started walking on, and my shoes were filling with water, and I'm thinking, no. And of course,
And I said, hey, here's a shortcut.
Yep. And I took a step and landed straight on my back, legs, arms, everything in the air.
Mud surrounding
mud in a depth of 10
wish I had a
centimetres of
camera,
mud.
because I then said to Donna, I said, look, hold it, honey, I can get you up.
Hold it, honey. Yeah, right.
And I took one step, tried to lift,
and he fell on top
and
of
I
me.
ended up in the mud as well.
So therefore, I was completely submerged in mud. And when he said, I'll try and get you up, I looked around and there was at least 10 French people applauding us for acrobatic
Hilarious.
skills.
We were like
no one came to help, mind you.
No.
They just turned around and
we were like two big grey seals in the mud,
trying to get out of the mud. So eventually, on all fours, I crawled out in amongst all the plants and refused to touch anything that was wet and brown again, and continued to go to a restaurant afterwards covered in mud.
But Donna, it was a joyous moment.
Well, for you it was.
It was very funny.
I think you've been laughing about it ever since.
Yesterday I came home to our little house here in such a peaceful state. Look,
might have been the mud.
The seals were wonderful. Valerie said we should have bathed in it because it would have been.
Well, I did.
We would have bathed in it. It would have been very good for us. Now, okay, so we've been out and about, done those things. We've had a bit of media this month as well.
Yes.
We got a lovely article in Connection, which is the largest English-speaking magazine in France, all about the house and everything. You can find it online on one of the Facebook posts. We had an interview with Sam Muscat at 88.9 Win FM in Melbourne.
Yep.
And he's very supportive of our task. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Great job. And we had a lovely interview at Posieres with Channel 7.
Yes, with Isabel Mullins.
Yes, from London office.
Yes. So, and tonight we have an interview with the Courier Mail. So hopefully that will get out.
So the media keeps getting us there. Guys, tell the story around. Share this podcast with others. Tell them to have a listen. Hope it's not too boring. But the last thing to finish off this month as we go, we wanted to talk to you a bit about everyday life in the village.
Yeah, everyone's on holidays.
It's August.
The place is empty. It's just, there's no one on the street.
We went for our walk today amongst the fields and not a soul.
No one's on the street. And Sundays, everything shuts. You're lucky if Aldi stays open till 12:30.
The butcher's shut for 3 weeks.
Everything's shut. So it's quiet. There's no one around there. And at night, you could spit down the road and you wouldn't hit anybody.
It's way like it used to be.
I'm not sure. But anyway, that's Sundays. And I still haven't found a hairdresser yet. So I'm still colouring my hair with boxes. And last night it was a bit of a dark colour. So I'm not sure if I like this one. Hopefully it's not permanent. Hopefully it'll just wash out. And eventually I'll find a local hairdresser who understands.
Put a bit of colour in it, Donna.
Who understands my needs.
Might be colour. Bastille Day.
Bastille was amazing.
Oh, unbelievable.
Because the sun doesn't go down till about 11 o'clock. Fireworks were at 11:30.
Unbelievable.
Of course, we were heading off to bed, but we stood outside and we watched, and they were amazing for this little tiny village. But you could hear all the other villages around exploding with fireworks. And then
for miles around.
For the French people, they stayed and boogied until 3 or 4 in the morning.
But there was a bit of a ban on drinking because of
the fires. Drinking externally, drinking away from a bar.
And because there was due to be a big bonfire a couple of weeks before, which they put off because, as you know, there's been big fires down in Orleans, where some Australian firefighters have now come to help out, which has been great.
Yeah.
But Bastille Day was incredible.
It was amazing.
The French Day, incredible. They had one big long weekend that week.
I don't know how parents with little kids handle it, because that's a late time to have the kids. But they're on holidays.
They're on holidays. It's like our summer holidays, but they also only work 4 days a week.
Yeah, but it's dark. It's dark at 11. So no wonder they have shutters on every. And the other thing that I've learned is the shutters that they have are not just necessarily to make your house dark. It's to make your house cooler. So if it's going to be a hot day, all the shutters in the houses around here are closed. And I used to think, oh, they've gone away. No, it's to stop the heat of the sun getting into the house, and it seems to work. I must admit, it's quite crazy, but it seems to work.
It seems to work. So Bastille Day was great. What about the rubbish?
They're very particular about the sorting of the rubbish, and we have to take our plastics and our bottles to another bin. We actually manually have to take them and load them into bins ourselves. So they're not collected by the council.
Recycled stuff goes into the yellow bin, cans, but bottles have to go to a special spot.
A bottle
and cardboard.
bin. Yeah.
In the bin at
cardboard
the front,
and paper.
That's emptied. Only normal household waste like tissue and paper and that goes into it. But yes, and in every community there are bins where you put your bottles and your cardboard, which is quite interesting. Pets are often missing here.
Yeah, the little Bignacourt has this great web page that they put up general announcements, and there's always pussycats that have gone missing or finding a duck in the backyard and wanting to know whose it is, which is really quite sweet. And then they announce beginning of September, there's another retirie. It's an indoor retirie this time. So there's a lot of community announcements well.
We've seen one deer. There are deer around.
Yeah, rabbits, a few
rabbits. The birds are smaller birds. The swallows here are unbelievable. Valerie and Pierre have got 24 nests out the front.
Yeah, but I miss the cockatoos.
There's no big birds. There's plenty of crows.
I miss the loud, colourful ones, that's for sure.
And we'll finish off. What about the Amazon, the deliveries?
We've discovered that Amazon will deliver to your house, but here in France too, they deliver to boxes as well. So they will outside of Aldi, there's a section of boxes, and if you tick that section on your form, they'll deliver it to a box, and then they'll send you a code. So you go to Aldi and you punch the code in, and your box opens and you receive your parcel.
It's a good way to get it.
That's a great idea for people who are working or people who live outside of the village and aren't at home during the day.
But we wander the streets and
they're called relay.
We wander the streets and we get waved at. The mayor goes for a wander.
People are lovely.
Jerome wanders down the street here on his run and waves to us. We are so accepted in this beautiful little village, and we just love it immensely. Some people are looking at us occasionally thinking, there are the foreigners, there are the Australians.
Yeah, how stupid
Especially
are they?
at a couple of bars, they do know who we are.
Yeah.
But the other day, to finish off, we had a really lovely experience. Pascal, who is the local gardener who's been here for 29 years.
Yeah. And like we've met him a couple of times, and he's been really sweet.
Always waved at us.
Cutting the bushes down, putting flowers out, and lives in Normandy, so an hour and a half away, and used to drive here 5 days a week to come and do his job, and has done that for 29 years. So he was farewelled by the village during the week.
We went down to
and
the
everyone
workshops.
did a guard of honour as he drove past on his tractor. Yeah.
They drove him around the entire village.
So he could wave to people.
Wave to people. Really lovely, real community spirit.
There's moments like that you think, but I know that happens in smaller towns in Australia too. We've just been big city people for a while.
It's nice though to step out of that and to step into an environment where everyday things are a little bit unknown, which keeps you on your toes, but it's an incredible experience. Folks, I hope you have enjoyed our wanderings around Bignacourt and our northern little part of France. Don't forget, if you want to donate via our GoFundMe page, go and do that. Have a look at our Instagram page, House of Tullier. You can see our Facebook page as well.
Spread the news to anybody else who has a connection to history or just wants to be involved in this little project that we're trying to get off the ground.
That is incredible. And very soon you're going to see a post go up asking you to send us some questions. So have a look at that have a look at that post. And if you're interested in what we're doing and want to find out some more, ask us some questions. So we'd love to be able to communicate with you and tell you what's going on.
Ladies, don't be worried. Ask me anything. I'll tell you the absolute truth.
And Donna will. Now, yes. Donna, you're going to have another summer fountain?
Yes, I think I might finish off with the fountain. I'm feeling
a
little.
Now we're going to. There we go.
Parched. Hang on.
Oh, I think it's almost empty, Donna. Oh, there.
There it is.
There it is.
And if you wanted to say I'm parched in French,
Oh.
je suis assoiffé.
Je suis assoiffé, we will end with. We're parched. Guys, have a great month. We'll talk to you again. But keep in touch with the House of Tulier while we restore history and make it wonderful again. Au revoir.
Au revoir.